Hello, ladies and gentlemen of the internet. I'm your host, Escalante TV. Now, last night, I could not sleep. I was tossing and turning in my sheets, and I just had thoughts running. So recently, some things just popped into my head about this show called Aggretsuko, okay? Whatever you may call it. If you're from Latin America, you'll call it Aggretsuko. But um, so far, in this canonical timeline, I was just thinking like, I don't think anybody's made like a true canonical timeline to the actual story so far. So basically, we have 3 seasons to work with, and I decided to sort of put together a timeline of events now, knowing that we've kind of faced a climax in the series. I'm in the official Netflix series that I'm referring to, and I decided to go ahead and construct a simple timeline, a simple canonical timeline of what things take place in what year, and sort of the time frame between these things, because I think that getting a perception of time is pretty nice to have when you're considering like a canonical show like Aggretsuko or anything canonical, the official thing, getting sort of thoughts organized of, when this happened, you know, and all that. So time's kind of just, thrown around in this show is what I noticed. So I kind of decided to think backwards based on emails, Retsuko's age. I think some of the stuff that's been thrown around, like college and years, like for example, like the year 2018 was basically thrown around by one of the OTM girls fans. So I used that and sort of decided to get it all in one line. So basically, we know that Retsuko's been 25 years old for 3 seasons now. How is that possible? So I kind of thought backwards, like, okay, since Retsuko's 25, that means not much time has actually passed within each season. And then I thought, okay, so she must be a 90s kid, right? So I kind of did some investigating here, right? Based on when she went to college, when she went to elementary school. And what's so nice to have here is that we had the prequel manga sort of explain that she was she was 9 years old in the third grade, and I'll get to that as soon as we get to the beginning of the timeline. So I sort of came to the conclusion that Retsuko was born on November 5th, 1993. 1993 is kind of like the appropriate age for a millennial. At this point, usually millennials are sort of in their late 20s, early 30s at this point. So yeah, they're pretty old. They're aging. And sadly, I'm going to age as well with all my other Gen Z comrades. But anyway, okay, so how did I get this date? So basically what's nice is that the OTM Girls official channel basically made it official that Retsuko was born on November 5th. They wished her a happy birthday on November 5th. So that's the date, the exact date. And 1993, well, just based on me doing simple math between the manga and the official show, kind of came to that conclusion that Retsuko was basically a tyke in the early 90s. So basically, we fast forward 9 years later to the year 2002. 2002, Retsuko is in the third grade, based on what has been said in the prequel manga, where she's 9 years old, so 9 years, 1993 plus 9 is 2002, and it's kind of weird too. I'm not gonna like spoil anything of the manga. Translation may not be all entirely there. I mean, I did forget to give credit to Lil Fix. Lil Fix bought the prequel manga, got it over here to the West. He's working on his own sort of translation with someone else, so kudos to him for paying for the import costs for this prequel manga that's not available in the West, but it does have crucial information to sort of understand the timeline. If I hope this is canon, by the way. I don't think it's been flat out said that it's canon, but we're assuming that it is canon because it is a manga. based on the actual Netflix canon. So we can go off of that. So yeah, she's 9 years old in 2002. She's old enough to go watch Attack of the Clones in theaters. All right, so I think a good 9 years later, she's 18, right? So usually when people graduate high school, they're usually like 17, 18, 19 if they're super seniors and they didn't pass high school. But we're assuming that Retsuko is on track, so she's 18. She graduates high school in the year 2011. So in between the year 2011 and 2013, she basically starts her college education. Now, the word college has been kind of thrown around in the story, and some people could assume that she went to a 4-year college, but for like the matter of like time here, for it to make actual sense, I think Retsuko went to a 2-year college, because if she went to a 4-year, she wouldn't be exactly the year 25. She wouldn't be 25 years old, with 5 years of work experience at Charimon Trading, her office company. So, I mean, she would be basically around 20. The average age of a college graduate is like 22, 23. So what we can assume here is that by 2013, Retsuko is 20 years old. Now, why the early 2010s as well? Retsuko, well, not Retsuko, it was Feneko. I think it was Feneko that was pretty much like into flip phones. I think she thought flip phones were superior to smartphones. That's what Haida pointed out about Feneko's character when they first met. And what we can assume is that they could have met within like, their own like recruiting ceremony. They could have said hi to each other. But some people think that they might have met like in college. I'm not too sure, but it looks like they started kind of mingling somewhere around, their first days of work. And usually I think by the early 2010s, smartphones were phasing out the flip phones, traditional flip phones. And trust me, I'm not too old nor too young to experience flip phones, because I myself had a flip phone in middle school. So, and there were some of my classmates that did have flip phones in the early 2010s. So there's that. I went to middle school around 2012, 2014 to 2014, and I can say that I did have a flip phone during my middle school days. So there's that understanding of where the sort of relationship between Haida, Feneko, and Retsuko begin. So let's fast forward 5 years now to season 1, to the Christmas special. So we can justly assume that it is 2018. 5 years later, now Retsuko is 25 years old. And it all pretty much, I think, takes place between late November 2018 to December, because we have the events of season 1 taking place when Retsuko's 25, and then we have the Christmas after. And then we can justly assume that a whole year passes, because now it's 2019. Now this is where Anai is kind of a good character here for indicating time, because he nicely timestamps his emails. And we can assume that the events of season 2 take place between July to August 2019, because Anai timestamp his first threatening email to Haida on July 3rd. So that's kind of a good indication of where we are in time. A month passes to where Anai adjusts to the workplace. That's where Retsuko indicates where they are, time-wise, sort of the passage of time. And now it's August 2019. Now, I kind of thought that a whole year passed between season 2 and 3, but in reality it did not, because I think Retsuko still says she's 25 to Monica in the dressing room, and Monica admits she's 26. So we can assume that not too much time has actually passed between season 2 and 3. But what also confuses me is that Tadano says to Haida that, it's been a while, or really how long it can be a while, like maybe a month or two. So I made sort of I assume that season 3 takes place in the fall. In the fall of 2019, perhaps like closer to November, maybe late October. This is the only way it really makes sense that Aggretsuko is still 25. And basically, we're pretty much caught up to the present, I guess their current present, which is where Aggretsuko pretty much survives an attack on her life. The whole shebang happens with the OTM girls, and we're pretty much caught up to their time. So basically, what I overall think is that these guys are kind of like a year behind our time, just a bit. And now that the OTM girls know Aggretsuko, they wished her a happy birthday on November 5th. What I assume is that in their time, it is late 2019, and they're transitioning into 2020 in their universe. So that's kind of wacky to think about, that they're a year behind us. But what I can now think is that, what I can now predict is that Aggretsuko is 26 in Aggretsuko Season 4. This is the only way it makes sense. This is the only way how time makes sense, and this is how we can really put together what has happened, what has occurred, how long has everybody known each other, and where we're headed when it comes to this whole timeline and understanding the story, the greater story that pretty much nobody tends to really think about, because usually people kind of throw it off and don't really think about the passage of time. But I think it's interesting to think about the passage of time, just to realize how short life is and how expansive this story can be, and sort of understanding everything between the characters. But yeah, I think this is just sort of a rough beginning, I guess, because the story's not finished. We just merely faced a climax in season 3, and what some people think is that season 4 is around the corner. But I think it's a little too soon. But we'll have to wait and see until we get a poster, we get a trailer, and we get some sort of announcement of a greater climax ahead. But that's pretty much it. Hopefully I can now rest easy. Everybody else can rest easy knowing that there's here's a perception of time, so they don't have thoughts running out in space while they sleep and toss and turn in their sheets. But yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Comment down below what you guys think about this timeline. Feel free to throw in your own ideas of clarifying anything, because I kind of just needed to get this out there. Get these ideas out there. So yeah, guys, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.